So for every Randy Orton, there's a Scott Putski, if you feel what I'm saying. Not every legacy wrestler works out. You know what I mean? For every The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, there's a David Flair. And let's not forget, The Rock, Rocky Maivia, almost wasn't The Rock. That almost didn't work out. Remember, Rocky Maivia was seemingly failing. They almost pulled the plug altogether on the experiment. And David Flair, let's face it, dude didn't look like a pro wrestler at all. I'm more brolic than David Flair. Maybe some people thought he was funny, or the fact that he just was even a wrestler was funny. But let's keep it real, man. If WCW wasn't out of control and could tell Ric Flair no, they didn't give the Nate carte blanche. Remember all the stuff that was going on back then, all the excessive spending, crazy contracts, people getting paid to not even come in. People like, hey, hire my cousin, hire my brother-in-law's cousin twice removed. It was outrageous. But if it, like David Flair probably should have never been known of. And leave it in the comments some other legacy wrestlers, good ones, bad ones, ones in between, your assessment of the ones in which I mentioned, if you don't concur with what I was saying or whatever, right? And make sure to subscribe, hit the buttons, talk pro wrestle with me here and on future discussions and news. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I don't know if you guys saw this talk about Nick Hogan being at the WWE Developmental Center or something like that. And, don't get me wrong, they're not flat out saying, oh man, Nick's getting a deal, he's going to be wrestling, Hulkamania is going to return and all that. They're not saying that. They're saying they don't know exactly what's going on. But I'm saying hell no, right? Because from my understanding, Nick Hogan, I think he's dabbled at the idea of wrestling or whatever. But regardless, he's 35 years old. His image ain't the greatest or whatever. And right, we obviously know, like, accidents and things like that, people losing their lives, all the drama and everything. And don't get me wrong, Hogan didn't have the cleanest image or whatever. He had some problems, but that came after Hulkamania had already ran wild on America, brother. And even then, it still hurt the Hogan name and brand and Hulkamania and everything, which it should, but he was ultimately able to overcome things. But for that reason and many others, if Nick Hogan were to wrestle or whatever he's going to do to bring back Hulkamania, in my opinion, I don't see any way that it does anything other than tarnish Hulkamania, right? Like, less is more, leave it as it is, and that's that. That's how I feel. And then I think I already mentioned he's 35 years old. Like, I don't know, it just makes no sense. Maybe he was just pulling up at the developmental center to, I don't know, say what up to some of the people he knew or something like that, or who knows, you know what I mean? But please don't know Nick Hogan wrestling or just any other type of Nick Hogan reviving Hulkamania. I mean, maybe there's something like they're going to do some kind of thing to honor Hulkamania or something, and he's got to take a bump and he's in there learning something like that. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on. But when I seen this and I saw some people get to talking, I'm like, no, are you crazy? This, please, don't do it. But yeah, that's about all I got, man. So let me know what you guys think. Once again, I look forward to hearing what you got to say. Stay tuned for updates on this story as well as other future pro wrestling news, reviews, discussions. We do a lot over here, but we're still kind of getting things shaking and moving. We're not all the way up off the ground like I want to be, but it's all about interacting with you guys as well as live streams where you can get on panels and all kinds of stuff. So please, once again, support me, hit the buttons, but let's talk is the most important part.